Welcome to Unscripted, the AMCP Podcast, a look inside managed care pharmacy. Listen in as experts explore the challenges, innovations, and opportunities shaping healthcare for millions of patients.
Today we'll be discussing AI and its use and potential in managed care pharmacy. My guest on today's show is Honcz, Senior Vice President of Market Access with Petauri and an AMCP board member. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Glad to get you on. So tell us a little bit about your background, particularly as how it relates to AI.
Yeah, sure. It has a growing, just say capability. Let's just use it as that for now. AI has seemed to permeate everyone's conversation, but the use of it is still pretty nascent. It's pretty basic, if you will. I started thinking about the use of AI and the sort of artificial intelligence back when I was in Aetna's innovation lab. I spent a couple years there. It was an amazing place to work. And our charge really was to look at different ways we can use technology or innovation, if you will, to help improve the member's health. And, Siri was starting to come around and Alexa for Amazon. And those are really AI sort of agents, if you will. They were very rudimentary back in the day. But my thought processes was, and sort of the hypothesis we tried to prove is, can that individual become your health concierge, your person to help travel and track where you're going, help you figure out where to go next. So that's where it started. And, the imagination is unlimited here and what we can do with AI and with healthcare.
Fantastic. So before we kind of dive into the depths of this area, as deep as we can go, what are some of the fun ways maybe you're using AI in your own work or play or whatever?
Yeah. So I'm a pharmacist by background. I'm a basic writer of things, and I have to type things all the time and create slides and really try to sound smart, right? So every time I write something, I ask my AI assistant, if you will, to make it sound better. And Fred, I have to tell you, each and every time it has made my prose sound a little bit better, a little bit more refined. So, I'll be honest, it's very basic, but it has upped my game from a literary perspective pretty meaningfully. And then I find that it's very helpful. My family likes to break stuff around my house, and so I'm constantly trying to fix things. So searching out different solutions and or fixes, AI has been tremendously more powerful, even than more so than Google.
Fantastic. So what do you see now about where you think it might be most impactful for the use of AI in healthcare?
So I think first and foremost, the patient should feel, way more empowered. The provider and everyone else around them should recognize that these patients are starting to see really in-depth information, stuff that can be then tailored to what's going on in their life. You can ask the AI bot to make it an 8th grade level so they can understand what's happening, or they can say, hey, give me the PhD level. I want to understand the depths. That's what AI does, I think, right now. It really levels the playing field and ups the patient's game, gives them an opportunity if they're using it. With respect to health systems, healthcare providers, and even managed care, I think what we're seeing is probably incremental efficiencies that are coming around. So bots that are now following the healthcare provider and helping to refine their notes that they take during a visit, and actually using those notes and refining them down for billing purposes. AI bots can do that in a much more efficient way. So I think what we're going to just see is people be able to do their jobs better, faster, and ideally, the thought process is hopefully spend more time with each other talking. So getting back to being a bit more human.
It sounds like that second example you gave is really around efficiency. And so are there other areas or cases you can discuss where AI is helping improve efficiency?
Yeah, so there's scarce specific examples right now. But one I think I like talking about is Sean Wang, as previous head of AI for Elevance, which was Anthem back in the day. He was on a panel with me recently, about a year ago, actually. And he shared that what Elevance is doing is working on trying to find or connect the patient with the right physician. I don't know if you've ever tried to figure out who you should go see next. If you need a specialist, it can be extremely challenging. How do you know that physician is the right person for you? Do they have the right background? AI can really do that homework and find a physician, if you will, that best fits for what you're dealing with. So I think that's not only is that efficiency, but that's just better medicine. Instead of sort of trying to get back and forth between doctors, let's find the right doctor for you the first time.
That's really a fantastic use case. So really a great one, because that obviously impacts the patient as well as the system itself. And finding the right doctor, as you say, has been so difficult and tricky to do. As people are thinking about using AI in their organization, are there any resources out there or places they should go to look for more information about that?
So I think, believe it or not, I think AI itself is a tremendous resource. And AMCP did a pre-conference recently on AI. And, it's a little bit of a bias or selection bias, if you will. Raise your hand if you've ever used AI, and most raise their hand. But if we did that in the general session, I would think less than half would probably raise their hand. So getting just to use it, just use Copilot or ChatGPT, any of the free versions, and ask that bot to help you, teach you about AI. There's like 12 different versions of AI that exist out there. They all kind of interlay and support each other. So I think that's one of the best first starts, is that you can actually use this tool to learn about this tool. And that's a very rare event, in my opinion. There are other options. Coursera provides a really great course around AI in healthcare. I think if you can compact it in 7 days, you can do it within their sort of free trial window. So there are more classic traditional ways to do that.
That's a great example. Just use it to understand it. Really fantastic. So one of the things we've seen a lot on the press has been this issue of AI being used in prior authorization. Got a lot of news about it. Some of the organizations were put into some difficult situations given their use of it. How do we ensure that those kinds of things don't happen?
I think if you think about AI and you actually think of it as a person doing a job, and that is evaluating clinical criteria for authorization. Individuals can make poor decisions, so can AI. And AI requires training. It requires, just like we do, ethical training and bias training and things of that nature, just to ensure that we are making the best quality decision and we are rooting out any of those extraneous things that we're just trying to avoid. So, I don't think it's going to go away, but it's going to get smarter. It should get way better at doing its job in an ethical, moral approach. It's just going to take some training. And the rub here, right, Fred, is that this is about humans or patients getting access. So we really got to do that training quickly. Really need to up our game. And I think we will see an exponential improvement.
I know there have been some issues also with AI in terms of biased samples being used to generate the data, et cetera. Are there certain things around governance that should be considered by organizations and individuals as they begin to use these products?
Absolutely. Each entity or company should really have a specific governance council, if you will, or at least a set of governance laws or bylaws in which they will follow when deploying AI. Those should focus on things that you highlighted: ethics, morality, if you will, if you can, bias, or trying to reduce the amount of bias. Ensure that the quality of the decision is at a very high level. These principles should shape every step in the process to ensure that you've got the best high-quality employee. In that situation, it's an AI bot. I think we've seen some legislative movements and regulatory movements as of late. We've got an organization out in D.C. called CHI. They're really working at trying to make sure AI functions appropriately and does a great job. So I think there's different components coming to bear on that. It just seems like everything's sort of happening at once and they're not interlaced yet. I think in a year or so from now, we will probably have a much more refined view on AI and making sure it's behaving properly.
What about an area like drug discovery? Do you see AI moving into that, and how?
Yeah. I get a chance to work with manufacturers often now, and AI is permeating that industry pretty significantly and rapidly. The use of AI to explore the viability of a compound is taking off like wildfire. The thought processes that our current head of HHS just talked about, maybe using AI to remove the need for animal models to speed up discovery. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to take a position on that, but the thought that you can actually do these, or you can have these actual debates of how we can find drugs that are maybe even hyper-personalized and develop them in a rapid fashion, it gets me really excited. As I said, I'm a pharmacist by background. I geek out on drugs all the time. I love it. I think it's really important that we recognize that patients still have unmet needs across vast disease states. And I think AI is going to help us close those unmet need gaps pretty quickly.
That's fantastic. What about how should we be explaining AI from a clinical or pharmacy perspective to the patients themselves so they feel comfortable with what they're receiving from that?
I guess I would turn it into a conversation about a person that's helping me. And you could say, I've got this, resident AI, and this resident is extremely smart. It's very capable of finding information across the entire globe and assimilating it pretty quickly into a succinct set of recommendations or ideas. Now, it's still my job as the healthcare provider to run with that and determine what makes best sense for the patient in the conversation. But I think the way I try to relate it to the patient is it's an augmentation. It's just another smart person trying to help you get better.
I think that's a great way to put it. One of the terms I've heard used more frequently now is augmented intelligence versus artificial intelligence, whether that's augmenting a physician making a decision or augmenting a patient to get them to understand, or a pharmacist. Really a great way to point that out. So as people think about this, and how can folks in the pharmacy space, and particularly managed care pharmacy, begin to engage perhaps with AMCP or other groups?
I'm really excited about AMCP's last move in this space. Our pre-conference was, as I noted, very well attended and attended the entire time. So sometimes people come and go. It's a busy time. It was well attended. People had questions, highly engaged. I think we're upwards of 180 people. Our panelists were amazing. It was a tremendous success. And to that point, an actual validation that there's demand out there. I think the managed care pharmacist, or those folks that are in managed care, not to sort of promote Sean Wang again, but he actually deployed Copilot throughout all of Elevance. So, and he noted that's like 50,000 people, employees, and about half, that means 25,000 are using it on a daily basis. I think just start using it. Really, I use it in a very basic use case, right? It helps me sound better when I have to write something. Just start there, and you'll allow yourself to learn, iterate, and then be able to figure out how to use it in a better spot. Maybe then turning your gaze toward the things you do at work that are inefficient. I think the inefficiencies that we can root out, or the improvement or precision by which we do forecasting or align therapy to a patient who needs it, those are all spaces that managed care pharmacy or managed care in general should be focusing on.
So we'd like to finish this episode with an audience poll and get your input on which AI topic should AMCP cover next. Real-life payer use cases, what we can learn from other industries, ethical boundaries and guardrails, and AI in member and patient communication. Please visit the website, provide us with your input so we can make sure to provide you with what you'd like to hear. And with that, I'd like to thank you, Joe, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, Fred. I appreciate it.